This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Janice Smith.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you need in a vintage clothing company? One might be closer than you think. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Heidi Ferguson with Thrash Clothing. How's it going?
It's going.
We're excited to learn all about you and your business. Tell us about your company.
So we are a vintage clothing company located in Lake Worth Beach, Florida. We have been in this location for about 3 years and in the town of Lake Worth in total for 9 years. And we specialize in men's and women's vintage clothing. It ranges from Y2K all the way down to the 1920s. We also have records, jewelry, boots, accessories, and purses and hats.
How did you get into this business?
My parents were big time scavengers, and out of necessity, we were always at thrift stores. So from a young age, I was really introduced to that. I would say I actually practically grew up in thrift stores. I remember my early memories of just being in sort of dark, dingy, thrift stores, crawling in the back, looking for treasures. And it carried on into my adulthood, and I eventually turned it into a business.
Oh, what are some myths or misconceptions in your industry?
I think the misconceptions would definitely be that, thrifting and vintage clothing is for people that have less money, when in actuality, it's more sustainable and the clothing lasts longer. So I really feel that you can find quality pieces and actually original pieces too that no one has. But the misconception is some people are, kind of grossed out by that because they think they're wearing dead people's clothes, which is not far from the truth.
Okay, so that's where you source it most of the time? Where do
A
you
lot
source
of
it?
the
I'm just curious.
times, yes, we do. We get a lot of calls from families and they just simply don't know what to do with the clothing. That's the biggest thing. The furniture goes relatively quickly, the household goods go quickly, but they know that there is value in the vintage clothing and there's also sentimental value to a lot of the families. So they want the clothing, they saw their mother grow up, when they were growing up, their mother was wearing or their father was wearing, to be passed along to a new generation. And, just seeing the value in it is the best thing with families when they're parting with the clothing, because it's usually the first to go in the landfill.
Okay, well, who are your target customers and how do you attract them?
So we are right on Dixie Highway in Lake Worth Beach, and we get tons of traffic that drives by every day. There is a 1990s vintage hearse outside. There's a 12-foot skeleton. There's 2 trash cans that have flowers in them. The building is very light and bright. That's probably our best source of marketing. And word of mouth is our second. It's, sort of an underground phenomenon, and it's been very grassroots as far as advertising. But people that know and they've been tell their friends, you have to go, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's the best advertising that there is, happy, satisfied customers that come back and also tell their friends.
Okay, outside of work, what do you do for fun?
I think my business is fun. That's more or less sort of why I turned it into this. It was a hobby of mine, and I've always collected vintage clothing. So if I'm not working, it's usually I'm thrifting, hanging out with friends at various places around town, or karaoke.
Karaoke's fun.
Yes.
Karaoke's fun as well.
It's free
Do
therapy.
you wear the items to do the karaoke's? Like, do you get dressed up in like a thrifting to match the music?
Oh, 100%. I'm like my own best advertisement. I put the full fits
Mhm.
on and, go sing. And, people always say something about my outfits. And I'm like, I know where you can buy these things.
Awesome. Okay, let's switch gears. Can you describe a hardship or life challenge you overcame? How it made you stronger? What comes to mind?
I would definitely say that during the pandemic, things were really challenging, just not knowing the future of my business. I'm a single mom and have raised my kids from a very young age as a single mom. And that's always been, being the sole breadwinner and having to provide and running your own business and really not knowing, if there's a global pandemic where your next paycheck's going to come from when you're working for yourself. So that was a huge obstacle to overcome, but I was really able to pivot to online and make it work. And thankfully I had amazing customers that shopped with me still during the pandemic and bought stuff online.
That's awesome. But Heidi, please tell our listeners one thing they should remember about Trash Vintage.
I think that, the biggest thing is that it's a very inclusive shop. We are open to everyone that comes in, and we're very welcoming to people that come in. There's no judgment there. So for a lot of people, especially high school kids, that it's on their way home, and siblings of those kids, or children of adults that come in, they do come and hang out. It's a hangout spot, and it's because I feel safe there, and I really foster that environment for them, because we're the type of place that we don't judge, and we love to have kids coming into the store and just hanging out and being part of, the social scene there, and feeling that they are safe and welcome there and free from being bullied at school. So it's really important.
How can our listeners learn more about Thrash Vintage?
We have a website, so it is trashvintage.com, and we also are on Instagram. That's sort of our main source of advertising, as well as Facebook. And we're under Trash Vintage, so it's TRASHE, so it's trash with an E and vintage, and you'll be able to find us.
Okay. Well, Heidi, I really appreciate you being on the show. We wish you and your business the best moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppalmbeach.com. That's gnppalmbeach.com. Or call 561-783-8999.